they're free. Happy, sing for eternity. Without God and His Son, Jesus, everything is peaceful and gladness. Happy, always doing His will. Happy, always doing His will.
For those watching tonight, season 15, episode 9, I mean, it's a special treat because maybe 1 in 300 episodes will we get to have Jennifer Martin with us as a co-host. So we are such a blessed people because of Deuteronomy 28. It says in there, and if you fully obey me. And there were some words that I underlined and emphasized when I started way down. And there's a huge difference in just the way you read something. And when you read it like it was written, and it was written as if you fully obey me, then you will be blessed when you're coming in. You'll be blessed when you're going out. Your kneading troughs and everything will be blessed, and the fruit of your womb will be blessed. And we have witness. Jennifer and I have known each other, I mean, we go way back. It's 22 years now that we have, the Martins and I've been such dear friends. And we're the first to step out in complete blind faith and loyalty to something that was a completely new religious movement. And even though Way Down had been around, and everybody in Way Down kept saying, this isn't being taught, this isn't being taught. So I knew almost from the very beginning that something like this was a possibility, but I never expected really for God to call it out. But He did eventually. And so it'd be 20 years ago, the church started. And so we've known we knew each other beforehand. And David Martin was singing on stage. Alexis was the name of his band. And they were rocking cool.
And Dio in 98.
Dio in 98 when we met. And that was so fun. No, I can't believe it.
And there's so much.
We have.
Babies and grandchildren.
One thing that we have been through, well, yes, she has, I've been there for, she already had one child, but Jennifer then had 4 more children, 5 children, and look at her. She looks awesome.
Way down.
It is so awesome. It is so awesome. I mean, you think about that. I mean, here is a place where people are not afraid to have kids because they know that they are, it's highly likely you're thinner than you were before you had children. And so please join Jennifer and I, because we've got 2 special guests that have had children and multiple children and are back down almost overnight. Please join Jennifer and I in welcoming Helen Boerman and Jost.
You can be free, you can overcome, you can overcome. Up in heaven, angels dance 'cause they're free. Happy, sing for eternity. Without God and His Son, Jesus, everything is peaceful and gladness. Happy, always doing His will. Happy, always doing
I'm telling you, I mean, the friendships that we have in this place, because our friendships are grounded on making sure that God is first in everything, that God gets His way, that I mean, it's just such a idol of ours, a passion of ours. It'd be like people that have football as in the same football team as their idol, so to speak, or golf as their idol, or whatever hobby it might be. They have such a camaraderie among themselves. But here it's God first, and so we are just like so close. And I go back and I look at the years of pictures that we have, where it's like one after another that we have of our friendships that this go back, and then but I will say that what God has done with all the saints here, the women has been, I mean, it's a story that the world would not believe. If we put in there's about 30 anywhere from 25 to sometimes almost 40 babies born a year here in this small church. And they're awesome babies. They're beautiful. Well, you think about it, there's 52 weeks, right? And so if you come for very long, you're going to notice that on Wednesday nights, there'll be another like baby born in Zion picture, and it's amazing. And then also we also have, like now, I mean, there's a party around here every day. I mean, for some reason, but it seems like something you can get into or go into if you look at Facebook. But just this past week, we now have we need the video footage.
Of the reveal?
Of the reveal. There's a reveal.
I get to be a grandmother. I cannot believe it. That's just such an answered prayer. I cannot believe it.
What a great way to start this off. Jennifer crying.
It's awesome story.
I love it.
It's an answered prayer. I just prayed I would live to like actually see that happen. And I can't believe God's allowing that second generation to come up, actually third generation to come up. And I'm getting to be a part of that. That is mind-boggling.
But that's another whole story in and of itself. It's people saying the word grandmother, and we've got to come up with another term because I am so sorry. Thank you, ladies. Hey, will somebody that speaks French please come up with some beautiful term that is sounds like you're younger than you are? I mean, yeah. Okay, but anyway, so no, we need to come up with something because it's a phenomenon that people you're gonna get the same strange phenomenon, but people are going, "You're a grandmother?" I go, "Yep." "You're not a grandmother." "Yep, I'm a grandmother." You know, and so God is helping everybody with their health, with their the youthful appearance, because the Spirit of God is in us. Then why wouldn't His Spirit? He lives forever, and there's no telling, how He does it or what He does. But we'll never have all the answers. I mean, probably if we live forever. But God's a genius, and He's doing something amazing here, which He promised. Though should be no surprise that it was all promised in Deuteronomy 28 that this was going to happen. And so we're just getting to experience things. We don't even really know what all is next. I mean, it's just an incredible journey. So, okay, let's start with just, because Helen is, let's just start with you since you're next to me. You've got 3.
I do.
And you just had your 3rd.
Right.
Okay, hear the story.
Okay, well, how much time do y'all have? So we have 2 girls who are 10 and 8, and I always wanted one more. And at the time, 8 years ago, it was tough because I was working full time. Chris, my husband, you all know my amazing husband. We just tried to figure out how in the world we were going to make it work with work and raising children and making sure that we didn't want to just have children without making sure that we had the time to train them to not just take care of their physical needs. At a young age, it's physical needs. We worried that when they got older, we wouldn't have the time and the family support. Although in the Remnant, it takes a village, and we have a village. But at the time, we decided at the time not. But I still had the desire deep in my heart. And God did allow for us to transition me into a practice that was very time-consuming, but it was an amazing blessing for our family. And then 3 years ago, the desire came back up again. Of course, I was a little older at that point. Our girls were older. And so I came to Chris and I asked him once again, would it be okay? Would you be okay to consider a child? And he was not all that excited about it, to say the least. And I checked in with you, Gwen, with Elizabeth, and I thought for sure if he didn't want it, it was just going to be off the table. But we were at a stage where my parents had moved here, so I had family help. My career was established. The practice was doing well. And my girls were not toddlers, so they were able to fix their own cereal and get things done. So we started considering all of the things where we could take care of another child. And so I came to him and I requested it. And at the time he said no. So the counsel given was, well, just Queen Esther it, just see. So I went back and read everything what Queen Esther did. She approached the king respectfully and prayerfully, and that's what I did for about a year. And during that year, he had a change of heart. Wasn't as thrilled as I was, but he did have a change of heart to consider it. So, and at the time, I felt very led to pray for a boy. There are no boys in the Boerman family, and so I was dying to have, for some reason, I was dying to have a son. And the nice thing with that is then his family name could continue. And it was a very specific prayer, and I kept getting scriptures about sons and lineage, and Deuteronomy 28 was one of them. And I got lots of scriptures about being blessed and Abraham being blessed. I took one and made him many, and I wrote them all down. And nothing happened for about 2 years. And then I counted the cost and said, well, we're thankful for our 2 girls. And so I became very grateful, very thankful, and decided that I was gonna let it go. As heartbroken as I was, that it wasn't happening. At that point, I came to Chris and I asked if we could do 1 round of fertility treatment because I just wanted one last ditch effort at it. I wanted it so bad. And the scriptures, I felt like God was leading that he would bless us. And so we did 1 round of it. And at that point, he was actually disappointed when we didn't conceive. And so I let it go. 3 months later, we conceived a boy. And I couldn't believe it. I was just, so, you hear those stories when people give it up, then God gives back. I literally finally come to in my heart, I was totally content and grateful, not content, incredibly grateful for the 2 we had. Because at that point, I realized how miraculous it was to have a child. It isn't easy to have children, and not everybody, especially those who are a little bit older. I was in my late 30s, and actually I was 40 when I found the news. And I don't mind sharing that just for those of you who are dying for a child a little bit later, that God can work outside of statistics. If you actually look at the statistical chance of having a child, if you're over 35, it's very low. The statistics are grim. So I had to get on my hands and knees and pray and fast, and I couldn't believe it when I found it out. So in conclusion, because I could go on and on, there's lots behind that.
It's incredible.
It's a story of a miracle. So for those of you didn't know that behind the scenes, I was praying for a miracle. But I was praying for a miracle, and I fell in love with God. All over again, because when you love, and now I realize how much of a sacrifice it was to send His Son, Jesus Christ. Because when you realize how much you love your child, and in this church, I wasn't afraid. I was actually not afraid at all. This is not a place where I'm scared to raise children. In fact, the only time a woman in her 40s would want a child is in this place where you know that you have the truth to raise them, love them, treat them with kindness, guide them in the way where I had it in me to raise one more soul for God, and because we're surrounded by this truth. And that's the best investment. A lot of people, the way I was heading was career initially in my life, and then Remnant, I got introduced into Remnant, and you realize if you make God first, everything else falls into place. So and now I feel like you feel, like we have the world. We have a dream life. It's a dream life. So it's amazing. And for the record, I still want to look like both of you when I'm a grandma.
Oh, you always look.
It's amazing. You guys are amazing.
Oh my word, for just having a child. How old is the baby?
3 months.
I mean, the baby's only 3 months old. Do we have pictures? Look, this is like that last week they were on vacation. That was Helen and the girls and the baby. Look at that. Isn't that amazing?
She was 1 week there.
1 week old. Wow.
Very.
He's so cute. He looks just like Chris. Looks just like Chris.
I prayed for that.
50 years, no boys in the Boerman family, and then the child's born looks just like Chris. So that's such a blessing.
Which is what I prayed for. I actually prayed he'd not look anything like me and he'd look just like Chris Boerman.
Righteousness rocks.
Right.
So it was beautiful. So, and very dear friend, and we worked together. Ann's an architect, and she was. How old were you when I first? Were you 11 or something?
Yeah. Yes.
Or was it younger?
I think I was right at 11. Yes.
I mean, all I remember is just falling in love, and then just our little ballerina, and then that went to. She kind of like apprenticed under me, kind of like when I was knocking down walls and redoing houses and switching up furniture and trying crazy stuff. I always experimented with some crazy stuff, but Ann was right there, just on my coattails for a lot of that, and we were scheming together. She graduated at the top of her class in architecture. Anyone that's ever been to a university and run into an architectural student knows that all they do is stay up all night, every night for 5 years until they graduate, and it's incredibly difficult. She graduated at the very top of her class. Bronze. She got the bronze medal. She studied in Europe, and now works at Exodus in art, just drawing and doing extraordinary things. And in the meantime, while she is doing this and passing all of her exams and that type of thing, and working, she had 2 children, and the baby is how old now?
7 months.
7 months. She had a baby 7 months ago. Helen. So tell a little bit about, just what I left out.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, I gave your story,
Well,
but
I just, I praise God. It's, I never would have dreamed of making it through a degree like architecture and going, basically by myself, no other close church friends with me for, just accountability right there. I never could have done it without the messages and the child raising and loving direction that's given here, and finding your gifts, but above all, just loving God with your whole heart. And so I never would have made it through. So then fast forward, I have the unbelievable honor and joy to work with you and for your company. So you actually hired me when I was 5 months pregnant. Who does that? Who hires that? It was very just kind. But I came on to work for you. I was about 5 months pregnant. Peter was born January of 2017. And fast forward, he was doing everything so fast. Like, he was walking at 9 months. He got all his teeth in right away. I was like, I'm done, hard part's done, and we were praying about more children maybe later. And Peter was about 10 months old, and it was a surprise. We were expecting again. And and just hadn't planned it. We were thinking
God
maybe,
thing.
yes, completely. And so we go to find out what the baby is, and we did a little gender reveal, and I thought, oh, this is, silly. All the Josts are boys. It's been that way for, 50 years. The natural born children are all men. And so we go and cut the cake and pull out and see the middle of the icing, and it was pink. It was pink. And this was just long prayed over. I know Therese Jost is my dear mother-in-law, has longed for, girls in the family. And so she has 4 daughter-in-laws coming now, and then this
And your
baby
mother was
girl.
longing for a boy, and so
Yes.
both mother-in-laws were tickled.
And so then, and we fast forward to had the baby in August of 2018, last year. And it's just been unbelievable. I particularly didn't want to have them too close together because I thought, it'd be harder and things like that. But honestly, what God has done is it's trained me up quicker in dying to myself more and giving up more. And God's shown me that I can handle a little bit more, and He's provided for everything. My dear husband, Travis, is just unbelievable, patient man, and just is incredible. He was raised here, and
Beautiful father.
and so just absolutely. And so
And
I
in the end, it's harder in the beginning, but then in the end, they play together. And so you get your time back instead of spreading them out. So each way is beautiful, but it's fun, and they're gorgeous. These children, I'm talking about, and well, I don't know. I could go on and on. I mean, your whole family, your mom and sister, and your whole family, and the Jost family, but all these kids are so well behaved from your side, and then Helen's children. These children are quoting scriptures. Helen's children come over to our house and play with our kids a lot, and they are just so, incredibly well behaved. I mean, I'm always challenged by how Helen is raising them up and all that. And so I said, she spent the night over there last week. I go, Ivy, I cannot believe you can braid like that. That is amazing. And she says, yes, I do my own hair. And I go, wow. Yeah, she said, my mother, she said after 5 years old that we were responsible for getting ourselves dressed and doing our own hair. And I thought, I go, right, yeah, okay. I said, so I'll tell Elizabeth that.
She's very gifted. She picks up things very quickly. And we've learned that here. When a child is
they can
gifted
do
at
so much
something,
more.
let them do it.
Oh,
It's great,
they want to play
Right.
adult anyway. I mean,
Right.
let them do it.
Right.
So, I mean, it's beautiful. We're role reversal. We want to act like a child, and they want to act like an adult. So, go ahead. Cook us breakfast in bed. We're fine. Oh, me. But these children, and then Jennifer, you're 5. Oh my goodness. And
Now, I praise God for way down. I know we all do. I mean, it helped us obviously have a connection with God. But when I was pregnant with Ashton, so she was the first one, it was so different compared to the other 4 with the teaching of hunger and fullness. Mm-hmm. And just how physically I felt so much better. You had taught me about Deuteronomy 28. You had taught me about Psalms. You had taught me about, too, how God was, knitting that baby in my womb, to be fearfully and wonderfully made. And that drove me to my knees to be pure and want the fruit of my womb to be blessed for the kingdom. And I'll never forget when we would go and look at the ultrasound of the babies, And we would say, will you please pray? Or we would, talk to you or phone or however we were in contact with you. And you'd always say, okay, so when you see that baby's heart on that ultrasound, you just keep praying that baby's heart, beats for God. Oh. And so, I've loved to pass that on, to other people because it is a miracle. I mean, like you said, to see a baby, and it's a miracle to have this teaching and then get to now watch Ashton apply this. The teaching of hunger and fullness with the baby is awesome, and it feels so good. I loved being pregnant with I just felt like I was in such God's care, and He just had His hand on that baby, and it was beautiful. It was fun. It was awesome. So I'm so thankful. I love Way Down because you can do it before you're pregnant, while you're pregnant, after you're pregnant. It's the message, like, it's never changed. It's hunger, fullness.
If you don't do it,
miserable.
then the mother's at
miserable.
risk and the baby's at risk. And the number one risk of all pregnant women and the infant is overweight, and then, of course, very much so, obesity. You are really taxing everything by overeating, and when you're pregnant, it's hard enough on the body to grow a parasite like that, and and then on top of that, overeating is so exhausting, and people don't feel anymore, so they're just wearing themselves out, and it's not good for the baby. And then that's why they're doing so many it's like everyone's required to have gestational diabetes tests because there's so many women that are overeating. And I have no idea how many tests are wrong because people say they fasted when they didn't. And then they drink that nasty glucose, and then it's not reading right. But anyways, I would just say that there's so many more health risks now just because of overweight, the epidemic of greed in this country, which is causing all this overweight. But no, these babies born here, Jennifer, I mean, y'all speak on it. Hey, have you ever, where's the picture of the one that I posted on the WhatsApp? I mean, I just can't believe the beauty of these babies being born and the health. I mean, look at the beauty, and I mean, it's just amazing. It's just astounding. I can't get over how God, because we're talking about the things that can go wrong in a pregnancy and in at the birth, then also then in the infants. And it's a miracle. It's a miracle that these little babies are surviving and growing and resilient, and then that they're doing so well beyond that. Yes. I mean, beyond the Spirit of God in you. What a combination. A human with God's Spirit in you, not Satan's spirit, God's Spirit in you. One is destroying the child, and one is making the child this absolutely glowing, beautiful, healthy, precious, magnetic. I mean, there's nothing more repulsive than children that have the spirit of Satan in them. They are arrogant already by a young age and throwing tantrums, or selfish and self-centered and rude and everything. Everything's repulsive. But when you have the Spirit of God, Spirit of Christ inside these children, they are absolutely just magnetic, and you want to hold them all, and you can't wait to work, be around them. And that's how we feel here. They mean so much to us, and they are the next generation, and they're absolutely gorgeous.
Just to how you've taught us to meet the needs of the baby, it's so rare that you hear them crying.
Okay,
here.
well, let's go over this one thing, but this is one of a million different things that we do here differently that we feel like is sincere to God. From the very beginning, I could see that there were different signals that the baby was putting out. People would just say the baby's crying. I go, no, that's hunger. No, that's don't give them more food. They're hurting. That's colic. No, they're wet or they're cold. No, they need to be held or whatever it may be. No, but the main thing was, no, they're sleepy. And a lot of people don't realize that's such a huge need in babies is for them they want their sleep so badly that it hurts. And so they're in pain. But if you will learn that whimper and then meet that need before they are even into a cry, you could tell, which ones, like they're still kind of asleep, but they're turning their head, that's hunger. And then, just knowing that, how to do bubbles. I mean, it's all, so it makes so much sense that the bubble they have such a long little esophagus and people don't understand. If you don't adjust them to where the esophagus is exactly horizontal, that bubble gets trapped. And so you just get them up exactly upright so that bubble goes up and out. And because they just really hurt if there's a bubble in their stomach, little air in their stomach. And so just little bitty things to where at the point where if you'll learn all these different things, the babies don't cry. I mean, they just don't cry. So getting where the children, like every little whimper and every little need is taken care of so that these little babies come out really trusting you. And then if they really trust you, that you resolve their pain, then they'll really trust you spiritually, that you know how to send them to God to resolve their pain, and they'll listen up. So, well, thank you for being on the show. Unbelievable. Any last words? It works. Look, you lost weight.
Way down works.
And
Way down works.
The babies are beautiful, and God works. Deuteronomy 28 is real.
Absolutely. And just to add on to what you were saying, two things, real brief, is they're delightful. The children, I mean, there's no reason to want to go back and do it again and again and again, 5 times, 2 times, 3 times. If they're so fun.
They bring so much joy.
So much joy. I mean, I remember when I was asking Chris and asking him, I go, what do you want to do? You want to play more golf? Do you want to get a boat? What do people in their 40s and 50s do? I go, I'm having so much fun with the kids. And so I wanted to go back and do it again. And if I could do it again and again and again, I would. But there's a time where you have to, they pass through that baby phase and then they go to the next stage. And
they get bigger.
Yeah,
Helen.
and every stage
they
gets better. But I love it. I love it.
I love every stage.
Every stage gets better. I can't say there's a stage I even like better than the first because it just gets better as we go.
It gets better every day.
Right. I absolutely love it. And then just to finish what I started, so Chris at the beginning didn't want another child just because we were trying to figure out how we were going to do this. And right now, I think he is the biggest fan of our little Wesley. I mean, I can't get him when he's home. I can't get him to give him back to me. And the kids will fight over him. Ivy and Emery will fight over him. They just absolutely love him to death. So the love, we've learned love here. And so love and fun and joy. And so we are surrounded. And it does take a village of all of us. In fact, Chris is out of town. He's in California. And I have helpers back there with the kiddos, and that's easy. I think I had 5 volunteers to go help. So I love that we all take each other in, and you invite them over, and they get invited. I mean, I have to keep them home so they can do school because otherwise they'd have a slumber party every night of the week. It's just so much fun.
And the younger kids are fighting over who's going to babysit.
Right.
Right. They're like, no, I want to babysit. Henry. Powers. No, I want to babysit here. They're all fighting over.
Right.
And it's so cute. It's so cute. So, well, thank God. Ann, did you have one final word?
I did. Just what came to mind was there's so much joy. There is so little. There's no worry in it. Just because God's given all these answers, there's no worry. Whereas I've seen friends post on Facebook, they're having babies. You see everything from postpartum depression to diet things to, training the children, all worries that we've got the answers here. It's unbelievable. And then there are results. absolutely results from just putting the way down principles into practice, obeying God with that, and then in training the children just to love God. You've simplified it just so beautifully, and it works. It does work, and so I'm so grateful. So it's amazing.
Oh, praise God. Praise God. Jennifer, taking care of our baby. Praise God for these girls. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. Praise God.
Up in heaven, angels dance 'cause they're free. Happy sing for eternity. With our God and His Son Jesus, everything is peaceful and gladness. Happy always doing His will. Happy always doing His will. Overcome. Up in heaven, angels dance 'cause they're free. Happy sing for eternity. With our God and His Son Jesus, everything